Hello, everyone. I'm Raíssa, and I'm bringing you now a new podcast of the blog Softball Now. This Saturday morning here in Natal, we have the temperature at 30 degrees Celsius, but it really feels like 32 degrees Celsius. The wind is really good, 33 kilometers per hour. Today we have a race here in Natal. I'm not going to run. I'm going to walk kind of 5 kilometers, but other people are going to run 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers. It's a half marathon. It's called Half of the Sun, Meia do Sol. So it's a good atmosphere around here. But today we're going to talk about this, I don't know, this shock that has hit the world. That was the election of Donald Trump as president of the United States. And last week we were talking about that here. I was saying to all my friends that are American that if you want to see what is going to happen in the USA, you just have to take a look at what has happened in Brazil since 2014 when Dilma got reelected here. And this year she was removed from the post. And now I think the United States is going to deal with the same things that people who re-elected Dilma here, they have to deal with. That is Donald Trump a fraud or a reality? Because if you pay attention to his speech, it was kind of a crazy speech, like building a wall to divide the United States and Mexico and make Mexicans pay for that wall. And other kind of theories and things that I don't know if people really paid attention to his speech. And right now we had two really bad alternatives, two really bad ways to follow. That is, one of them is this just a fraud? He was praying and speeching and talking about things that he wouldn't do. That's what happened here in Brazil with Dilma, because if this is the case, we're gonna have lots of protests all over the country, because he's not going to please the people who didn't vote for him. And of course, he's not going to please people who voted for him, his supporters, because he's going to do something totally opposite of what he had said he would do. And the other thing is that he's really going to do these all crazy and bad things he said he would do. In this case, then, another bad thing we have, because the world is going to be completely turned upside down. The economy is going to suffer a lot, and people have really no idea how bad the world economy can get, the American economy can get from now on with these crazy ideas Donald Trump has. But since Tuesday, I've been reading a lot and seeing lots of news about the American situation, about how Donald has reacted after elections. And first, we have seen exactly what we saw during the campaign, when protesters were gaining the streets of the country. First, he tweeted about it, saying that they were paid by the media. I don't like this kind of we have a powerful enemy that is working against us thing. This is exactly what we had in Brazil some years ago, and that's not good, because people don't deal with reality. They create this imaginary enemy, and they blame everything that is bad. They blame on this imaginary enemy, and they don't work to solve problems. That's what we really need. And like hours later, he decided to tweet again, and now the speech was completely different, because he said he loved these people that were in the streets protesting because they showed love for the country. and if they love the country, he loves them all. So I think this is a bit of what we can expect from him, because that was what he did all his campaign. He changed opinions very fast. He showed one face and then he showed another face, another side of things. And that is why the world is so worried about the future, because we really don't know who Donald Trump is. Is he a character? Who is the real Donald Trump? We're gonna see a little bit about this when he starts to nominate his workers, the ministers, the secretaries, etc. I don't know how we call this in the USA. So we can get an idea from that. And beginning on January 20th, then we'll have the reality. How he's going to work, about the economy, about wars, about his very old-fashioned ideas of intolerance, racism, sexism, and etc. Because, the president of a country represents a lot of things. Most of all, represents the values a country has, a nation has. So I don't believe the United States is happy with a president that represents racism, sexism, intolerance. And we see that because most of the population voted for Hillary Clinton, but he won in the Electoral College. That's another question. We talked about this last week, that I don't know if this... I know that this system doesn't represent the best of democracy, because you have an indirect election. And every time that we hit a result like this, that most of the people voted for one candidate, but the other candidate is the winner, then people start to question the system, and that's not good for the country at all. Maybe it is time now that the United States change this system and accepts that the really democratic system is the one that people vote directly for the representatives that they want. Wow, and so, but we have to also analyze this, what this really means. What does the election of Donald Trump mean to the world? Is this really a rightist wave? Does this really mean that people now defend racist ideas, sexist ideas, intolerance, and all these kind of things? I don't think this is the case. I really believe that what Donald Trump represents is a kind of a protest. And that's why this podcast has its title, that is, it's still the economy. People say that during Bill Clinton's campaign, the first campaign to become president, one of his assistants, James Carville, said that it's the economy, stupid. So we don't need to discuss other things. The real thing, the thing that makes people get out of their homes and vote, is the economy. That's the economy. You want to live a better life. You want to know that you work and you get a salary that will pay for your expenses, that will let you live your dreams. So you don't want this feeling that you've been exploited by companies or by the government, by politicians who only think about corruption. So every time the economy is not good, wow, we have a wave sweeping countries in the world. And I think this is the case now. A lot of people are talking about deglobalization, because think that this system, this globalization thing has changed the economy for worse, for the worst. And I don't think that's the case, because I really like the idea of living in a world that has no borders, that you are from Brazil and you can go to Argentina just showing your identification. I like this idea that I am here in Brazil and I can have just this podcast with you, people who are in France, who are in the United States, in India, in Romania, all these countries that I see when I'm checking the statistics of the blog. And wow, 20 years ago, we couldn't imagine a world like this, that I'm here just using the internet to talk to people in another country, and it's not expensive because it used to be very expensive. So I think this globalization thing has come to stay. But we have to interpret these signs that come from the United Kingdom, that come from Europe, that come from the United States, that come from Brazil too, this rightist wave. And I don't think it's really about the values the right political parties they keep. No, it's not about being racist. It's not about being isolated from the rest of the world. It's not about thinking that white races are superior. No, I think what people really identified in Donald Trump, most of the people identified in him is the guy that is an outsider. He's not a politician. So he represents kind of the normal people who are not worried about what they say. They are not worried about political correctness. And every time that he said something stupid and he didn't apologize for that, for people, this represented that he was a true guy, an honest guy, not a politician that is made by marketers or by tactics to win the election. So I think this is the real meaning of Donald Trump's election. People were sick and tired of normal politics, normal politicians. So they want to say, you just think about yourselves, you just think about the power you have, but you don't think about solving problems of normal society, normal people, common people. So that's why we see this rightist wave, but it doesn't mean that people now are identified to the right ideas, the rightist ideas. No, they are just trying to say, I don't want this to continue. I don't want this kind of crisis we are living to continue. So, but sometimes when people protest, and we have this experience here in Brazil a lot, because, you know, sometimes we have candidates who are clowns, really clowns, just trying to get this kind of voting, the protesting voting from people. We have crazy people, lunatic people trying to get elected around here. So every time we have this kind of protest, it's not a good idea for the country, because what we experience is that everything gets worse. But in this case, we are talking about a country, the most powerful country in the world, and that is the problem that all the world is worried about, is how this guy, this protesting guy, is going to deal with all this power, with, you know, because if the United States sneezes, then the rest of the world has to say bless you. It's kind of that. Everything that happens there reflects all over the world. And I think this is the biggest protesting vote ever that has reached the world. And that is why we are so shocked and thinking about that. But I can assure you, it's not about the rightist ideas. I'm quite sure of that. People voted for him as a way to say, I don't want this economical crisis to continue. I want things to change. I want to have a better life. And that's why we have this rightist wave as the United Kingdom leaving the European Union, and now the USA getting a kind of crazy man, a character, celebrity as a president. But I don't think this will last long, because as I told you, I think this is a question of who the real Donald Trump is. Is this just a fraud, just a character to win the election, the protesting vote? And I believe that's the case. or he's really lunatic, crazy, and he's going to destroy all the economy of the world. So we're gonna see later about that, but I can tell you that the population, for the population, what really counts is the economy. If he can fix the economy of the USA and fix the economy of the world, then everybody's going to applaud him at the end. You can be sure of that. We can be sure of that. Okay, guys, that's it. I expect that you enjoyed this podcast. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we're going to talk about the soccer teams here in Natal and soccer in Brazil in general. But next week, on Friday at 7 p.m. we're going to talk about other things. Saturday again, 11:30, talk about other things in English. I hope you can enjoy the conversation, not only here through podcasts, but also through the blog, softballnow.blogspot.com, so we can have lots of discussion. I love to discuss a lot of subjects with people, so I invite you to be there. Okay, have a nice weekend. I'm going to I'm going to walk today. That's my first race after a long time, so I hope everything is okay. Invite you all to go there, but that's it. See you there, guys.